It's time for the First Call podcast. Jeremy Plonk, Jeff Siegel from BET and Xpressbet. Huge weekend of racing all around the country, from the Midwest to the Mid-Atlantic. Jeff, we've got horses in action in Stakes Company, and we'll handicap 8 of them for you this weekend.
Some weeks we are pulling teeth to find 8 stakes races that are worthy, but man, we're loaded this week. We got 8. Took the best 8, I thought, but there are some great racing. I looked at Laurel. In fact, I might have a couple of best plays there over the weekend, even in the undercard races at Laurel. So that's good. Gulfstream's the same question. So, we've got racing everywhere. We even got a stake at Pleasanton, that I kind of like a little bit. So didn't use that one, but we're going to focus on of course, good racing at Delaware Park this weekend. Belmont's got a couple of stakes, and then Ellis Park, the Churchill meeting, coming to a close, but some terrific racing there. And not only on Saturday, which we will be covering, but even on Sunday, a couple of good two-year-old races. So lots of action. And, of course, this is the 4th of July weekend per se. It won't be until Tuesday, but a lot of tracks will be running through the weekend and then into Monday and Tuesday as well. So we'll have an extended weekend this week.
Jeff will lead us through Delaware, Belmont, and Ellis. I'll take you to Gulfstream Park for a 9th bonus, the Smile Sprint, which is our Xpressbet race of the weekend. Part of the Summit of Speed. The Summit of Speed used to be one big day at Calder back in its origination about 20 years ago, but it's moved to Gulfstream Park. It's been spread out over the course of several races. We'll have multiple stakes races, of course, this 4th of July weekend in the Summit of Speed, but on Saturday, the Smile Sprint, the main event at Gulfstream Park. It's Irish Derby weekend. The Irish Derby coming up on Sunday. When you bet the Curragh this weekend with Xpressbet, enjoy that $10 money back special on all races Saturday and Sunday. Saturday and Sunday mornings from the Curragh, Jeff. There's multiple stakes races. This is not Derby day on Sunday. Saturday's got 4 or 5 stakes races as well. So it's a fantastic week of international racing. And one more before we get into who we like. Got to tell you about the Messenger Stakes and the Yonkers Trot tonight, Friday night at Yonkers. It's the kickoff legs for the pacing and trotting Triple Crowns tonight. Friday night action. A little bit later in this podcast, we'll bring in our Xpressbet harness expert, Al Samaglia, to preview those races for you. But, Jeff, without further ado, let's go to Delaware Park, where hopefully the air quality situation is improved throughout the course of the week, because it's Delaware Oaks Day on Saturday. 3 stakes races on the card. The Delaware Oaks, the featured of those, goes race number 8. Grade 3 company. Who do we like in the Delaware Oaks?
Good race. I mean, lots of up-and-coming fillies that maybe haven't reached the graded stakes level quite yet, but this is their chance. And one filly that does look like an ascending filly is number 4, Fireline. This is a daughter of Arrogate, trained by Chad Brown. The Arrogates, there aren't going to be that many left of them, unfortunately, but they seem to get better with racing, with age, with maturity, and Fireline has that pattern that I love. Just looking at her buyer speed figure, she's gone from 45 to 71 all the way up to 88 in the recent allowance race. And this is she's been a mile twice, but this will be her first time around 2 turns. And I think she's going to step forward yet again. And if she does, and if she runs back to that really impressive now one is a 2 win at Belmont, I think she'll win again on the raise. And at 7-2 in the morning line, she's my pick, number 4, Fireline, to win the Delaware Oaks.
Let's give the fans a chance to see and hear that win back at Belmont Park.
Tough Street and Fireline. The stablemates are 1-2 here with an 1/8 of a mile to the finish. Tough Street on the inside and Fireline on the outside. And now there's nothing between them with a 16th out. Fireline on the outside pokes her head in front, and it will be Fireline who comes from off the layoff to win it here over Tough Street. Farther back, Vienna Code finished 3rd.
Classy bunch showing up for the Delaware Oaks. Some fillies dropping out of the Black Eyed Susan. Promiser America coming out of the Kentucky Oaks. Of course, she surprised the Gazelle at 26-1. 2 starts back. She doesn't owe anybody anything if you bet Promiser America that day at Aqueduct, but she'll look to notch her second big graded stakes win of the 3-year-old campaign. Let's shift gears to the aforementioned Belmont Park. Next up on Saturday, they've got a couple stakes races for you. The Dwyer and the John A. Nehru. The Dwyer will be first up in race number 6. It's a 1-turn mile, grade 3 company. $200,000, and this is the spot last year where we saw that major dominant blowout win, 20-some lengths. I don't know if we're going to get 20-length winner in this year's field, Jeff, but how do you see the Dwyer shaking out?
I see it as a very difficult race because you've got 3-year-olds. Many of them are very talented, but they're at various stages of development. And you take a look at a colt like, for example, Harrodsburg, who was beaten a nose last time out with a 99 Beyer number. The classic 2 sprints and a stretch out pattern for him with good speed. He's probably going to step forward again. How much, we'll find out. Saudi Crown by Brad Cox's undefeated colt, won 2 races, both with mid-90s Beyer speed figures, coming in from Churchill. Again, the 2 sprints and a stretch out pattern that always grabs me. I mean, it's something I just can't resist. So those 2 are good. And then you have Bob Baffert's Fort Bragg back in Baffert's barn, adding the blinkers that he wore just one time, and he won with them. This is a colt that was beaten the neck. I thought he ran really good in the Pat Day Mile.
Yeah.
Now, I was disappointed in General Jim's race out of that, so I don't know if that was a good race, maybe an overrated race, but I know Fort Bragg ran really well, and he earned a 99 Beyer number, career top, and it looks like he's been training really well last couple of works at Belmont. So this could be a very strong race for 3-year-olds. It's a grade 3, but I've seen grade 3s, and this has the potential to be a whole lot tougher than that. I ended up going with Fort Bragg. I like his draw outside. I think the pace situation is going to allow him to kind of stalk, bounce, and go. And he's got the proven form and a little bit more foundation than he has the other 2 that I mentioned. But I wouldn't be surprised if Saudi Crown and Harrodsburg pop up and run right with them every step of the way. Good race. Edge to me with Fort Bragg on top, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised with whatever happened in this race.
I'm going to throw a little college football trivia at you, because I think other than horse racing, college football right there with this, and I know you love your college basketball, but do you know who Joey Freshwater is? Joey Freshwater entered in the Dwyer Stakes.
No, I'm sure he's a nickname of a real good college football player, but I don't know who he is.
It's Lane Kiffin's fake name that he used in the bars when he would try to go in anonymously to pick up chicks. He would call himself Joey Freshwater, and the story got out on Twitter, and then somebody named a horse Joey Freshwater. It's got to be named for Lane Kiffin, but bar hopping Lane Kiffin, Joey Freshwater. Let's move our attention to the John Nehrude Stakes as we'll move up in class from that story to the Mr. Nehrude, one of the crown princes, I would say, of American breeding, and one of the owners that stand the test of time. John Nehrude had so many great horses over the years. 7 furlong stakes named in his honor. Grade 2, $250,000. And Jeff, we've got a good group in here. You got Candyman Rocket, 3 Technique, Twisted Rides in here. Good looking group. Weyburn as well, now in the care of Todd Pletcher. His former trainer, Jimmy Jerkins, is now training in Saudi Arabia? Is that where Jimmy Jerkins ended up moving out to?
Yep, that's where he is. And this one now transferred to Todd Pletcher's barn. And I don't know if he's going to improve that much, if at all, for Todd, but I looked at his form, and I certainly liked his form. Now, his last race, he was 3rd, beaten in the Westchester in what was an incredibly fast, highly rated race, which is why he earned a triple-digit number, even when getting beaten 6 lengths. He's had some little bit of time off now, May 5th, and almost a couple of months now under Todd. So I think he'll step out and run well. First for second, 7 out of 16 races in good company. So he's always, there or thereabouts. And I like his style here, where he can kind of sit close to what I don't know will be a real hot pace here. I mean, they'll be going reasonably fast, but not blazingly fast. And I think Weyburn, it's the kind of horse that might run best when he's relatively close, where he doesn't have too much to do. So something similar to what he did when he won the Sir Shackleton 2 races back in a very good style. So if he brings his best stuff, I think Weyburn can win. But again, another race where you've got several in here that on their best day are capable of winning. Candyman Rocket's got a confidence-building win in the Run Happy over this track, 1.75. No reason why he won't like a mile. In fact, he's perfect 1-for-1 in a mile. So or 7/8, I should say. So I think Weyburn is maybe one of several that can win, but I'm going to give him a slight edge on top.
You mentioned Candyman Rocket, Bill Mott. Does he need another great sprinter? He's got Cody's Wish. He's got Elite Power. I mean, the 3rd horse on your bench going a mile or shorter is Candyman Rocket. A lot of trainers would love to have that one as their 1st stringer and not their 3rd stringer. So it's good to be Bill Mott with the short dirt dashers now. It's not what he's been for his entire career, but in 2023, this is where Bill Mott's elite status ranks, and it's just kind of interesting. It's, a good horse can come from anywhere, and a good horse can show up for a trainer anywhere. It's just a matter of kind of what you have, and he's smart enough to put them where they belong. And now he's got 3 of the best horses in America going, like the mile or shorter. Let's talk more sprinters as we go to Ellis Park. The Churchill Downs at Ellis meet, which was transferred about a month ago, rolls on with its biggest day of the meet. It's Stephen Foster Day, and I believe 6 stakes races in all on the card. There's one in race number 3, and then we pick up in the 6th, and then 8, 9, 10, and 11 in succession to wrap up the card. The Kelly's Landing, race number 6, is the first stakes Jeff's going to take a look at. This is a 6.5 furlong sprint name for Kelly's Landing. Of course, I believe Eddie Keneally had Kelly's Landing in his racing career, set the track record, Churchill Downs, and I believe maybe even Ellis Park had a couple track records in his heyday, Kelly's Landing. Who do you like in this sprint race, Jeff?
Well, the one thing I noticed about this race is it's a 6.5 furlong sprint, and that opening quarter is going to be kind of soft, I think. I don't see anybody out here other than maybe Bango who really has the ability to go to the front. And even he doesn't usually go to the front, although he usually lays fairly close. But he's been caught in a couple of quick, hot paces in his last 2 races, and he certainly won a real good race at Churchill when he went fast. And then last time out, he blew a length and a half lead in the Aristides. But that horse that beat him, Gunite. I mean, I just have so much respect for him, and there's no Gunites in here.
Right.
So if Bango would to run back to his last race at Churchill, and he has won at Ellis Park in the past, which is important to me, and he has won 12 races in his career, which is important to me. I think Bango should have a soft trip here and be able to maybe even wire the field on the lead, but if not, win it anyway, no matter how he wants to do it.
Let's go back and look at his last race. Bango was trying to make history and become the all-time winningest horse in Churchill Downs history, the most victories ever by a horse in their career under the Twin Spires, and it took only a big effort from Gunite to catch him.
At the quarter pole, Bango comes off the turn in front. Sibelius and Strava give way. Good Nights are rallying second now, and Tejano Twist is coming down the center. 1 furlong to go. Bango's short lead. Good Night keeps on grinding away, and Good Night takes the lead right at the 16th pole. It will be Good Night to win it by a length and a half. Bango is second.
All right, so we'll see if Bango can get one better than that in a race that comes up easier for sure, at least against the top-end horse. Jeff, you may remember I picked Fortin Hill back on the Churchill Downs handicap as a horse to watch. I thought that his race at Keeneland was really good. I thought he was going to run a big race in the Churchill Downs handicap. He didn't show anything that day, but he's on the rail. He's got some speed in a race where you mentioned who's going to the front in here. I don't know. I think Fortin Hill dropping back to 6.5 furlongs from the rail. They're going to have to go. Corrales is a front-running jockey. I give Fortin Hill a little bit of a chance in here. Whenever you make like a horse-to-watch list, you used to do your Black Book Express for XBTV and for HRTV going back in the day. I always say give those horses a couple chances. If you liked them for a reason, maybe they didn't have the right situation. Maybe things just didn't work out the first time back that you bet them back. But always try to stick with them a time or two. We used to have that in our Buzz report with Horse Player. Now you get frustrated. You love the horse first time back. They didn't run well. You drop them off your list, and then they showed you. Fortin Hill, I'm going to give one more chance to in here. I think Bango's the horse to beat, but Fortin Hill at a decent price. This is not the grade 1 Churchill Downs handicap. This is a little easier spot. Maybe he can get to the front and see how far he can take him. If not, an exacta. Play the 2 on the rail in there, 1 and 2 from Jeff and I in race number 6. Let's go to the 8th race. Next up is the Florida Lee at Ellis Park. It's a mile and an 1/8. This is Breeders' Cup Distaff division here, and Amore out at Santa Anita in the Beholder Mile earlier this year showed she could take her game on the road and look pretty good in doing so. Let's go back to that race and see if you like Amore back here in the Florida League.
Top of the stretch, and Fun to Dream in front has a 2-length cushion on Amore in second, who's trying her best to close the gap. They're inside the final 1/8 of a mile. Fun to Dream, Amore within a half length. Amore is trying to get to Fun to Dream. Fun to Dream digging in. Amore surging. These two come to the wire together. Amore got up in the last jump to beat Fun to Dream.
Now, since then, she was 4th in the La Troyenne. She never got into the mix where she could get to the leaders in that race. But she's one, Jeff. If she gets alongside of you, Amore wants to beat you. She's very competitive.
And at a mile and 1/8 under the projected race flow of this race, she should have a really good opportunity to lay just wherever she wants, close up, without having to be used. She had the 10-hole, the La Trienne. The race shape was not in her favor. They kind of went slow early and fast late, and they were accelerating, and she was trying to accelerate on the outside, and that was a better group anyway, I think. So to me, she is 8-5 on the morning line for a reason. A daughter of Uncle Mo, only 13 starts, so there's still room for improvement with 5 wins. There's really no reason why her best race won't win this race. Based on the time off, the work pattern for Brad Cox, back with Pratt, who was her winning rider out here at Santa Rita, and that race to the Beholder Mile at Grade 1. That filly she wore down, Fun to Dream, really, really good 4-year-old filly, and had every chance. And Amore just flat out beat her. So I think she'll win this race, and she'll probably be a short price, but Amore to win the Fleur de Lis.
Pauline's Pearl, a little bit off form, but it's got some back class. Hardy Constitution, Royal Take Charge are kind of the class risers in here who are in good form, have good records, but we'll see where they stack up class-wise. Royal Take Charge, a winner in 3 of 4 lifetime. Hardy Constitution has a 3-race win streak coming into this one. So some hot horses headed to Ellis Park, and the heat is important there. I should note Ellis Park moved up their post time on the Friday card because of heat. So keep an eye on post times and things like that tomorrow at Ellis Park. See if they make any changes to the schedule there. You'll want to keep up to date with all that. Xpressbet will keep you up to date with it in the blog section, of course. Check out the basis for the scratches and changes and those sort of things as well. Let's go next to Ellis Park's third stakes race that we're going to look at here on the program. It's the Wise Dan Stakes. If you're making a stakes for Wise Dan, it better be like a middle distance turf race, or you just got it all wrong. A mile to 16th on the turf here. Of course, Wise Dan was good on the synthetic, and he also won on the dirt. So I guess I should strike that from the record. You could make a Wise Dan Stakes any track, any distance that you want. I guess he was so versatile.
One of my favorite horses, and even though I never actually saw him run live, he did everything back in the Midwest and the East, but I don't think I can ever remember a horse with more desire to beat you. Yeah, he had plenty of natural ability, but when it became tough and he didn't have great trips, he still managed to pull it out. He was such an admirable racehorse, and this race is well deserving of a good field. Now, in looking at this race, the one thing that I saw was that there was not a lot of pace in the race, and that would certainly give Get Smokin' a chance to wire the field. The problem with that is he had the exact same situation in the Arlington, and he ran well, and Set Piece just beat him anyway. And now, off that race, I don't see the reason why Set Piece won't do it again. Unless you can talk me out of him. I know at 4-5 that's not a good gamble at all, but Set Piece just beat him and came against the grain and still was able to get up and win. And he's won 12 races. I love a horse who's won 12 races with 2 seconds and 2/3. That means that if he can beat you, he will beat you.
He will.
And Set Piece found a way to win last time, and I would have to think that he can do it again.
Yeah, and you talk about the pace situation in here. Yeah, Get Smokin's the confirmed front runner. The other 2 horses I thought that can compete with the pace were Stitched and Hosier, and they're the 2 far outside horses in a mile to 16th turf race. So when speed draws to the extreme, to the outside or the inside, they're usually used a bit harder than even it looks on paper to get position, right? Either to secure position on the inside or to cross over and not lose ground from the outside. So that the other 2 potential pace players here are the 9 and the 10 on the outside of the field. That's probably going to mean that Get Smokin's going to get a little bit of company here. One of those two, if not both, are going to come hustling out of there to try to get some position. So I think it will be a little bit tougher pace for Get Smokin than it was last time. And that means Set Piece is even more likely to run by him again because he didn't get any help last time. Let's go back and take a look at that race. The Arlington Stakes from Churchill Downs.
Set Piece forced to go 4 wide 5th as they turn in. Get Smokin' trying to tough it out. Still the leader by a length and a quarter. Classic Causeway set down. Set Piece coming strongly down the center. Get Smokin' trying to fend off Set Piece. Set Piece rallying strongly to the front. Right at the 16th pole. Get Smokin' back to second. Set Piece scores.
I know Set Piece is running his best races at Churchill Downs. He's also run well at Pimlico. So this will be a different turf course, but Churchill Downs has had like 3 different turf courses during the time that he has run off his mark at Churchill Downs. So I don't know that he's necessarily a horse for course in that a lot of his big successes come at Churchill. Because again, that turf course has been ripped up, changed. It's been different forms over the years for him. So I think he'll handle Ellis Park just fine. We shall see on Saturday. Main event at Ellis Park on Saturday is the Stephen Foster Grade 1 $1 million. This is a Breeders' Cup Classic win, and you're in. And I know we like to joke about the Classic division almost seemingly every year that there's just nobody left in it, and we'll get to the Breeders' Cup, and by the end of the year, we'll figure out who the class of the division is. But if you just look at the races that are on the calendar, what more do you want out of this race? You got the Oaklawn Handicap winner in Proxy. You got the Santa Anita Big Cap winner in Stiletto Boy in here. You got the Pimlico Special 1-2 finishers in here in Rattle and Roll. And who else was in that Pimlico Special? That was Speed Bias, who just missed in there. You got the Ali Sheba winner in Smile Happy. You got the New Orleans Handicap winner in West Willpower. You got the Oaklawn Handicap runner-up in Last Samurai, and a horse who was, on the board in the Pegasus World Cup Invitational. They run handicap division races in America. Almost all of them are represented in this field. So this is about as good as you're going to get.
Might be the best older race in the history of Ellis Park, for all I can tell, because this is a terrific group of horses. It's a Grade 1 $1 million race, well deserving of that for sure. Mm-hmm. And our older handicap division this time of the year is a little light. A lot of horses are taking the summer off, waiting for the fall. I get it. But these are very good horses. And one horse in particular just absolutely blew me away last time he ran, and that was Smile Happy. I mean, if you looked at that race, I mean, the horse that I thought was going to win, everybody else, not everybody, but most people did. He was 3-5, West Willpower. I mean, it went slow early. He had the lead. He did what he needed to do. And then Smile Happy just ran on by him like he was standing still. I loved his win. I know you've always liked this colt. And now as a 4-year-old, after going through that Triple Crown stuff with the Derby and the Bluegrass and all that, he's come back, in my opinion, better than ever. And the 110 buyer number that he earned when winning the Ali Sheba was absolutely legit, and one that makes him one of the very best older horses in the country. He's had some time off. Kenny McPeak has been pointing for this race. The work pattern is healthy. Should have him set for another major effort. And if he runs back to that Churchill race at Ellis, I think he can win again. So I'm going to take that 3-1 if I can get it. Number 5, Smile Happy, to win this Stephen Foster.
And we talked about who's who in 2023 in the handicap division. Art Collector was coming off a win in the big one, the Pegasus World Cup, when he just turned him away in the stretch. Let's go back and take a look from Churchill.
As they come to the top of the stretch in the Ali Sheba. And here comes Art Collector swinging up outside of Smile Happy as West Willpower gives way. And as they come to the 8th pole, Ridge Strike still last. He just never moved up today. 1 furlong to go. Smile Happy, Art Collector on the outside. These two will decide it. Smile Happy has the inside. Art Collector has the outside. And Smile Happy is going to do it. Art Collector second best under the wire. West Willpower finished third. Ridge Strike ended up passing one horse. He was 5th in the Ali Sheba Stakes.
I would say the way he galloped out there, the 1 1/8 should not be an issue. The way this horse has run in the past, he's run up to a 1 1/8 just fine in the Bluegrass. So I don't think the distance will be a problem. Jeff's on Smile Happy. I'm on Smile Happy. I've been on him his whole life. Brian Hernandez is not on Smile Happy. That's the interesting thing in here. Same owner, same trainer as Rattle and Roll. Brian Hernandez jumps to ride Rattle and Roll. That leaves Corey Lannery to pick up the mount on Smile Happy. Corey rode this horse throughout much of his 2- and 3-year-old season, so he's quite familiar with him. Interesting. I don't know the dynamics behind this, if they thought one was better than the other. The only thing I could figure out here, Jeff, is on June 24th, both horses worked 4 furlongs, 48 flat for Rattle and Roll, 49 flat for Smile Happy. Maybe there was a determination made after that work. I don't know if they worked in company. They worked the same distance the same day. Maybe Lannery ends up on Smile Happy because Hernandez thought Rattle and Roll went better in the morning. Not quite sure, but to me, these are two riders of equal skill. I'm fine with either one.
I'm not in any way, shape worried about Corey Lannery's ability to ride Smile Happy. It is interesting, though, that clearly Hernandez would have had logically the choice. If he really wanted to ride Smile Happy, I'm pretty sure he could have put his foot down. I don't know. I'm going to be looking at the papers and the newspaper articles and the DRF to see if there are any quotes involved there. I'd be curious. That's the first thing I'd ask Kenny McPete is, what do we make of the jockeys?
Yeah.
And for all I know, is he might say something to the effect of we put him in a hat and picked one out. I don't know. Or maybe he said, that Rattle and Roll was preferred. So I don't know. That's an interesting dynamic. But from what I saw, and I have a lot of respect for Rattle and Roll. He's won his last 3 triple-digit buyers. But I think what I just saw of Smile Happy in that last race, that's going to beat anything Rattle and Roll is going to do, unless there's some kind of change in condition or form that I don't know about.
Right. I'm with you on that. And I'm going to stick with what I've seen on the track, and what I saw on the track in that Ali Sheba Stakes is what puts me on him for the Stephen Foster. Next up on our handicapping trip around the country is the Tepin Stakes. It'll be race number 11 on the card at Ellis Park. It'll wrap up the 11 race program. Early start at Ellis Park on Saturday, so be sure to be tuned in for all that. Heavenly Sunday is going to be the horse to beat perhaps on Saturday, and if she runs back to her race at Churchill Downs in the Edgewood, they've got to catch her in the Tepin.
And they're coming to the top of the stretch, then Cairo Consort and Preliminary on the far outside. Still wide open, even Sabalenka's coming for the back of the pack too. Heavenly Sunday in front, a furlong to run. Here's Papilio on the outside, Revelita. These two are coming on now. Then Longoria toward the inside. They're coming to the wire, and Heavenly Sunday takes them every step of the way. Revelita was second, and then came Mission of Joy, followed by Papilio.
And Jeff, if you're watching that race, you're waiting for the whole field to swallow up the front runner in there, Heavenly Sunday, and nobody did. Nobody did in the gallop out. She just simply held everybody at bay.
And earned a career top buyer in the process. But the thing that I like most about Heavenly Sunday is that she's won 3 races in her career from 5 starts. First win was going 7.5 on the grass with a pace stalking trip. The second win, she rallied from 6 early on to win going away by almost 3. And in this race, the Edgewood, she took him gate to wire.
Yeah.
So when you have a filly like this with only 5 starts, and the versatility is such where it doesn't matter where she is or what the race shape is, or from the 3-hole, Florent Giroux can do whatever he wants. It's not going to matter, I don't think, to Heavenly Sunday. You've got a pretty solid pick here. And not only is she the proven quality here, she's great at stakes, a Group 2 winner, good inside draw. But again, the race shape will not make one bit of difference for her. And I love the way she found something extra. The good ones find that reserve energy under pressure in the final 16th, which Heavenly Sunday did. She's been freshened now for a couple of months. Looks like the work pattern is just fine. No reason to think this daughter of Candy Ride won't come back and run her race, and that's good enough to win.
I handicapped this sequence, the late pick 4 for Xpressbet and for First Bet in the blog section. And one of the things I saw with this late pick 4 is it looks very formful, right? You got Set Piece, who looks like a very short price. You've got Amore, who looks like a short price. Smile Happy, probably maybe second choice in the wagering. So you're not going to get many prices in here. Heavenly Sunday's probably going to be a short price as well. I thought there were 2 long shots in this race that were interesting to use if you're talking pick 4s. Metaphysical's one in here, finished just right on the hip in the Swedish Chance Stakes at Gulfstream against Heavenly Sunday. The last race at Penn was pretty good. In the Penn Oaks, there were Brown and Pletcher horses behind this runner when she ran second behind a wire-to-wire winner Malimu last time. So I think Metaphysical's not that far off of Heavenly Sunday, and I think you're going to get a much better price. And the other one I thought that had a shot in here was Wonderful Lady, because this is a filly who in France was a dead set miler. Every race she ran was basically a mile. Her 2 races in the U.S. are 1 1/8 and 1 1/16. Sometimes those milers just have a better kick the shorter they go, and they don't have the same kind of, turn of foot going long. Last time she kind of ground out the victory and got there at Churchill and Allowance Company. She may show a little bit more turn of foot now that we truncate this thing to a mile, going back to her European form. So I thought Wonderful Lady deserved to look in here. Brendan Walsh, Tyler Gaffleone, we've seen them since about April, win a lot of races together, and especially on the grass. So wouldn't be surprised if Wonderful Lady and Metaphysical are two price horses that you can at least use in there. If Heavenly Sunday can't be beat, those will be the exacta underneath. And if you're just trying to get some sort of price in that pick 4 sequence at Ellis, I think maybe the last race with those two horses were a place to take a little bit of a shot at it. But Jeff, I'll be honest, my pick 4 ticket was $1.50. Single 3. I mean, it's just, and I'm not saying you only bet $1.50 on the race. You might bet it for $15 and have it 10 times. But I just don't see using a lot of combinations in that pick 4 sequence. I don't see enough of those favorites getting beat. There are 4 very good favorites. The likelihood of 2 of them winning, I think, is highly probable. The likelihood of 3 of them winning is likely to me. All 4, chances are one of the 4 gets beat. But it's not going to pay much, I don't think, the late pick 4 at Ellis on Saturday.
Yeah, if you're right, then if we're right, then it won't. But you pointed out, you can bet it multiple times and try to make and sometimes they pay a little bit more than you expect because people are trying to beat the favorites. That's the natural inclination when you have a rolling exotic like that. I'll throw that one in. I'll throw that one in. All of a sudden, they're hoping against hope that maybe sometimes that they're going to beat a horse that they really think is going to win. And that's not usually the way I play, but I can understand, saving or backing up and then crushing the main ticket, which is only $1.50. So
yeah, exactly. That's the way to play it. Let's take a look at one bonus race this week as we go to Gulfstream Park for the Smile Sprint. We mentioned the Summit of Speed continues over a couple days this weekend, the holiday weekend. And you got Willie Boy, the defending champ, back in the Smile Sprint, but he's been off form. He hasn't won since that race last year. Jeff, I'm taking a horse named Toto Fino. You saw him out in Del Mar and Santa Anita run well in Allowance Company. He's 2 for 2 in the U.S. Those races in California were last year. Comes in completely fresh for Amador Sanchez, the trainer now. This Chilean 5 in a row over a long spread of time. But I think Toto Fino comes back ready to run bullet workouts in the morning. So if folks want to get my full analysis on how to bet the race, the Smile Sprint at Gulfstream Park, sign up for the XpressBet email newsletter. It gets sent to your inbox every week, or just check it out at expressbet.com or First Bet and check out the blog section there. The XpressBet race of the week, the Smile Sprint at Gulfstream Park. So you definitely want to check that out. Laurel Park, Jeff mentioned earlier, has a big Saturday of racing coming up this weekend. 3 stakes races there this week. It's the Summer Sizzlers in July. They dub it July 1st, July 15th, and July 29th. They'll have a series of stakes races. So this kicks off the first of 3 big July weekends at Laurel Park. The Jamila Stakes, the Laurel Dash, and the Concern for 3-year-olds. We've seen some Prince of Jericho, Coffee with Chris, some horses that we've seen throughout the 3-year-old series in Maryland. They'll go to battle in the Concern Stakes. Be sure to check that out. A couple betting promotions you want to take your eyes to this weekend at Ellis Park. There's a $10 money back special on all races Saturday and Sunday. So that big Stephen Foster card on Saturday. Sunday's a big day at Ellis Park as well. The Bashford Manor and some of those good 2-year-old races that we're used to seeing at Churchill, part of that Sunday card at Ellis Park. So a $10 money back special on the program. That means if your win bet finishes 2nd or 3rd, you get up to $10 back in your account and wagering credits. Ellis Park, money back special, Saturday and Sunday. All right, Jeff, we're going to talk a little bit of harness. I know we had this a couple weeks ago where Al Samaglia came in and lent his expertise. Well, we've got the Triple Crown starting for the Pacers and the Trotters Friday night tonight at Yonkers. Here's Al Samaglia with his report on those races and who he likes.
I'm taking a look at the 2 headliners for Friday night at Yonkers Raceway. The first one is the Messenger Stakes Final with the $250,000 purse. It goes in race 7. 3 horses in this field haven't had a race at Yonkers. 4 have raced only once. And It's Me Mario, the 7 horse, has had 5 races at the track with 4 wins, but he's not in my top group of selections. So with no elimination race, we're going to have to look a little bit deeper. My top pick is number 5, Captain Batboy, 9-2 in the morning line, steered by Jordan Stratton. Was a private purchase back in November for $100,000. The son of Captain Treacherous has been a different horse this year, winning 407. Is 1 for 1 at Yonkers. Has the gate speed to land on top or get a close-up seat. I like his chances. Stratton should provide a sharp steer. Just right below this one a shade is the 4 horse, American Fling. 5-1 in the program. Bartlett steers has won its only start at Yonkers. Also should be able to get a close-up seat and can offer a square price. The 6, Thunder Hunter Joe. 9-1 in the program, has half-mile experience, is 1 for 1 here. This horse is in form, has early speed, and if Buter could time the gate, he can make some noise and possibly win the race if he lands on top without a struggle. Offers a nice price and shouldn't be left out of the gimmicks. The 3, Strength from Above, 7-1 in the program, Engblom pupil, will need a perfect trip to win, but has improved and could be in the hunt at the wire at a price and should be also included in gimmicks. My selections are 5, 4, 6, 7 with the 5, 4 on top in exactas. The Yonkers Trot, $300,000 purse. The 2-horse, Up Your Dale, my top choice. 3-1 in the morning line, Team Svanstedt entry. Aki drove the last time. The horse had trouble right off the gate, took a couple of bad steps, was put back on stride, raced a bit wide, had to be used again, and then rallied hard down the lane and won the race. That was a very impressive win. I don't think the horse is going to be the morning line price. I doubt you're going to get anywhere near 3-1, so I'm going to use him in exactas on top. 3, Kierkegaard. This is the stablemate of Up Your Dale. 5-1 in the program, was an odds-on choice last week, won very handily, is 3 for 3 this year. Mark McDonald takes the lines. He should have this one on the lead when the wings fold, I'm thinking. But I believe he will end up in the pocket behind Up Your Dale, and they could finish that way. The barn could come 1-2. The program chalk is Ari Ferrari J, 5-2 in the program, Donalanya combo. This horse appears to be lacking the gate speed to get a good close-up seat. Came from the backfield last week and rallied to finish 3rd. Has good speed. My opinion would be different on a larger oval. I think right now the price is too short to put on top, but I would use underneath. Number 6, Tilio's Action, 21 in the program. Price shot, has enough gate speed to get a decent seat. Could be there at the wire and boost the gimmick payouts. The 4, Crown, 4-1 in the program. Really didn't have an excuse to win last week, but has good tactical speed, so probably shouldn't overlook for the gimmicks this week. In handicap order, my selections are 2 with 3, 5, 6, 4. I hope you all enjoy a big night of racing at Yonkers Raceway, and good luck.
All right. Thanks there to Al Smagli. You get his written analysis pretty much weekly, every day of the week for harness action. Be sure to follow that at expressbet.com. All right, Jeff, we're set for a big weekend now, and it even starts on Friday. We talked about that big card at Yonkers, 20 times ExpressBet wager rewards points at First Bet wager rewards points when you bet any race on the card, any bet tonight at Yonkers. Irish Derby coming up on Sunday. And Friday, before we check out of here, Jeff, got to remind people it's mandatory payout in the Rainbow Six at Gulfstream Park today because it's the end of the fiscal year. It's June 30th here on this Friday. It's the end of the fiscal year in Florida, which means they got to clean the books out. So Tampa Bay Downs is running today and tomorrow, those special fiscal Friday, Saturday, whatever you want to call them, that they do each year to maintain some of their licenses in the state. And Gulfstream Park, of course, today, everything must go. No carryover provisions. Pick 5 today. If nobody hits it, there will be no carryover. It has to be paid out today. So everything must go today at Gulfstream Park. So we should get to work.
Man, I tell you, there are a lot of opportunities, not only today, as you mentioned, Friday, but Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday as well.
Yeah.
And racing, I kind of like it because sometimes I cover Southern California, and sometimes you look at the form and it's the same old horses, and what am I going to do with this, But when you go outside your comfort zone, you're fresh, You find out you're looking at things, and maybe you find something you like that you wouldn't have really found. So lots of opportunities this week as we kind of take a little bit of a break while we wait for Saratoga and Del Mar. But I don't know. There's some enticing opportunities out there, and then I'll be diving in, I'm sure.
Maybe we'll call you Jeffrey Freshwater from here out. You're looking for something fresh here this weekend in the wagering world. That's going to wrap up our podcast. Enjoy it this weekend. A lot going on from the harness side to the thoroughbred. When we come back on Tuesday, we'll recap it all on the It's Official podcast this weekend. Have a great 4th of July weekend. I guess it's official's 4th of July this week, so we'll put one out on Wednesday for you coming up this following week on July the 5th. Have a great holiday weekend, everybody.